last year, the when to take hits, when not to take hits, as you went through the 12-game grind that is the SEC?
Yeah, it's a different grind for sure. Maybe I learned I need to get in the training room some more and to not leave until my body feels good. And then second off, I would say that I got to prep myself better to not take those hits that you're talking about, maybe slide. But it's hard to do that as a competitor because I just want to win every game. And then, it's a game of inches.
Hey, interesting hearing from Diego Pavia, and he was a popular man. I'd say the biggest mob crowd of the day was when Diego Pavia went into one of the breakout media sessions after Clark Lea had addressed everybody in the main media room, which is the College Football Hall of Fame. If you've ever been to Atlanta, to the Chick-fil-A College Hall of Fame, that's where they have a football field set up and you can kick field goals and all kind of stuff. But what an event, Buddy and Brendan. We're going to keep this one short. We'll be under 30 here, but over 1,200 members of the media from all over the country. I was thanking Herb Vincent and Chuck Dunlap and Craig Pinkerton. There are so many people here. Saw Coach Cutcliffe. He said he was ready to come back on and do another show. But, Buddy, it just gets bigger every single year, the love and the passion of the SEC fans.
Yeah, I looked up on my TV, and there's Rob Brown asking Clark Lea a question. And my man, Rob, on the case. Good job. And I've watched it all day long here. Unable to make it. I tell you, I see more here than you do there.
Yeah.
Because I see everything that goes on. It's global. And I get a chance to see these youngsters and hear them talk. Boy, are they impressive. Kid Pavia, I mean, there's so many impressive young men. They really are. And if you're worried about the new system spoiling the kids, just check these kids out. They're not only very sharp, they're smart. I mean, they're smart, they're sharp, they know what's going on, and that was really impressive. And really impressed with what Feinbaum had with your friend, Mr. General Clark, on today, because he mentioned two of my friends' names that I covered at our Air Force. What a great run that was. Fisher to Barry being one, and Kenny Hatfield, who also goes to Florida at one time. Those are great memories for me. So, yeah, it looks like you really got it done today, Rob. Good job.
Well, I mean, when you mention your name, people just smile. I mean, you have so many people that you've worked with over the years, and that's a credit to you. I mean, and that doesn't happen unless you do it right. And so it's great to have you on our team. I can tell you that when I'm talking to folks. And, General Clark really we talked to him about several things. And one of them is, the playoff system itself. And then as he goes around the country to media days for the different conferences, and everybody has one, some of them are a day, some of them are 4 days, but the interest and the passion of every fan base in every region of the country. And we got a soundbite with General Clark. I got two of them. So Brendan, whenever you're ready, we'll let General Clark, he is retired last year as the superintendent of the Air Force Academy, but he lives now in Irving, Texas. And he said he gets to go to maybe one game a weekend. But when they go into lockdown and they start having the weekly voting, they're locked in the command center out there in the Metroplex. But there's some good comments. Here's what he had to say. All right, I'm here with General Richard Clark. He told me to call him Rich.
That's right. That's right, Rich.
The man with the college football playoff. Let me ask you, what do you think it's doing, increasing the number of teams for the interest in college football nationally, as opposed to when it was a much smaller field?
Well, I think expanding the field has really expanded the interest. We saw the regular season really get a good boost from the playoff. Viewership across the board for college football went up. We can't directly attribute it to all of the 12-team playoff, but we know that was at least partially a result of the expanded playoff. We also saw bowl games increase, and the viewership in all of our bowl games postseason increase because of the added interest in the regular season. So I think that our playoff is going to bring up college football. As we say, rising tide lifts all ships, and that's what we think is happening.
All right, Commissioner, you get to travel around to a lot of media days. We're obviously in Atlanta for the SEC, but Do you find the same level of interest in the buzz about, hey, we got lots of teams that need to be in your playoff?
Yeah, I absolutely think every conference has a new level of excitement, and everyone wants more access. They want to see fair access, and that's where some of the decisions are we're in the midst of right now. But every conference is really excited. Every team and institution wants to have hope. They want a shot, and that's what the playoff gives them.
Impressive guy.
Hey, buddy, and Brett Daniels is with him, and Brett Daniels was with Mr. Bill Hancock. You know, he was always with him, and it's good to see that continuity. Buddy, you spent a lot of time out west in Denver. A lot of our audience, you know, they know the SEC. You've traveled, you've been all over the country watching football. Don't you? I agree completely with Commissioner Clark that everybody thinks, hey, you know, we need to be there. That's what's going to generate and annuitize the future of college football, in my opinion. Agree or disagree?
Somewhat. And I was on your show this morning, Sidelines, when you had to duck out and
Thank you for coming.
and able to talk with Coach a little bit about Ellis Johnson.
He's awesome.
This is a job. Brendan, we talked about, is it better to have a lot of good teams or one or two super teams? And, you know, it depends. I guess if your team was the super team, you're fine. But, I mean, there was something about having those great Georgia and great Alabama teams that were, you know, you knew you were watching some greatness there. But on the other hand, which is best for the sport? It's better to have more teams. Ellis and I named 8 teams this morning, right, Brendan? And Brendan did too, that we thought could possibly win the playoff from the SEC. 8.
Yeah.
I mean, now again, that's a broad sweep, but I mean, South Carolina, they got a shot. I'm not a huge believer in them, but they got a heck of a quarterback in Sellers. And boy, I tell you, he was filling it up today. Coach was talking about his team and the people they got coming back and the great environment. He had forgotten he coached at Spurrier there one year. But anyway, so South Carolina's fans are rabid. They really are. And we think about the Swamp. But also the fact there are other rabid fans besides Baton Rouge. But yeah, I think it's probably best for the game when there are more teams involved. But I also enjoy watching greatness.
I agree with you on that. And I think the SEC is going to always have probably more teams top to bottom in contention for the playoffs. And Paul Feinbaum said a few weeks ago, is SEC dominance in football in question? That's a good question to ask, buddy, because complacency and getting stale will take you out in sports, in business, in everything you do. And I think you're starting to see a doubling down from everybody in the SEC. And you look at Vanderbilt, really interesting hearing Clark Lee talk. The guy's very smart, and Diego Pavia is saying things I have never in my lifetime heard from a Vanderbilt football player. He said, we want to win the national championship. Clark Lee talks about playing into January. I think that's great to have that kind of gravitas as a coach and as a player. It's certainly great for sound bites.
I'm impressed with Clark Lee. I just don't think he's got enough bullets.
Yeah.
He definitely has done a terrific job of coaching his team. He's looking to year 5 next year. He's getting where he wants to be. I'd forgotten they beat Alabama last year. You kind of forget these things. They beat a number 1 team. They're definitely better. They got a good quarterback, which you don't have too often there. They seem that they're not going to have depth. We know that, but then that's true of a lot of teams. I wish them the best, but they're not a top 6 or 7 team.
Yeah.
But it is, I think the correct quote, General, if I may say, is the rising tide raises all ships.
Yeah.
I believe what they say. And if that's the case, Vanderbilt, what were they, 7-6 last year?
Yeah.
So they're looking at maybe 8 wins, 9 wins. I'll never get to 9. But there's so many teams in the hunt. But the schedules are the backbreakers. If you look closely, and this is what we'll do on my show. By the way, Rob will be on tonight with me a little later on, along with other guys, Shane and Franz and Kevin Brockway. And when you look at the schedules, I mean, you look at some of the schedules, they drop off the face of the earth after the opening game. You could not have a better game open with than Texas and Ohio State. My goodness.
Yeah.
Somebody gets bragging rights. And the point the commissioner made today was, in the world of TV ratings, and when you talk about who watches what, last year's total number of people who watch college football, get this, 70% of them were either SEC or Big Ten fans. That's a bunch. And so that's the chip they're playing now at some point. But I mean, yeah, I mean, I like it when it's inclusive. There's a lot we didn't know about the Big 12, a lot we didn't know about other teams. We're learning. But this could be a very exciting year because nobody's going to lay down. Everybody's going to have to struggle and fight a little bit. There's going to be games lost that shouldn't be lost. And I think there'll be games that will be Texas, Ohio State's not going to decide the national champion in the first game. Yeah. It could have a play in it. But so there's lots of football there. And it's going to be great to watch. And I think we're very fortunate. And I think the game is going to be just fine once we settle the money issue, which that might take a while.
Yeah, and Clark Lea did one of the takeaways from his speech in the main media room was when he first got to Vanderbilt, they lost to East Tennessee State. And he goes, I just didn't have any place up here for that. And he said, I've realized then how fragile Vanderbilt football had become. He goes, I played here. He was a walk-on, went to MBA right there in Belmead, the Gentleman Scholars, proud to be a Vandy graduate, but he had to change the mindset. And it's one of the questions when I asked him was, you can't have a new reality with an old mentality. And they changed that. Also, listening to Weeks, the linebacker for LSU, and he's got two brothers also on the LSU team.
Mm-hmm.
I think his dad played with Kirby and Will Muschamp at Georgia. He's from maybe Watkinsville, Georgia. And he is a character. Someone asked him about NIL, how that affects everything. He said, we're playing ball, man. He said, we get to work. It's about blocking and tackling. It ain't about finances. That was refreshing to hear, buddy.
It's not about it when you're playing, but it's about it the rest of the year. And I was just on the phone today with a guy who was very big into the Florida situation. It doesn't work for them, but he knows where all the nickels and dimes are coming from. Yeah. And he told me, he says, we're not quite there yet, but we're getting there. I think we're going to get there. And then when we get to year 5 next year, we're going to have the money to get all the players. And Florida's gotten some huge recruits this past week or 10 days, big time. But you still got to have the money because you got to, and I believe this was pointed out several times today by coaches, that you don't just got to recruit them, you got to keep them. Retention. Brian Kelly talked about how he's got one guy just works on retention on his staff so he didn't lose his players. So you can get burned. You can get them and lose them and get them, whatever. So, yes, it's crazy the way it goes, but I think they're heading hopefully the right direction.
Well, in the business world, hotels, customer retention, you got your travelers that hit Hampton Inns or Quality Inns or Best Westerns, you name the hotel all over the country. They give you bonus points and loyalty points and stuff. There's got to be a way because there's only so many hours in a day that you can spend with your team. And Brian Kelly also raved about the roster that he's got. LSU went out in the portal, brought in 12 four-star players. And they've got a fifth-year senior, Garrett Nussmeier, at quarterback. Mm-hmm. And, another one that's been there for a while, Ty Simpson at Alabama. He is a coach's son. Also, I want to say this in advance. So many people are gone by the time they do the voting, the media poll for the SEC. Mm-hmm. I think that explains the historical inaccuracies. The Big 12, Heath Klein told us on the show Friday, and I saw Heath and Chuck Oliver today. The Big 12 this year did not do a media poll because last year they picked Arizona State 16th, and they won the damn league. So I think you need to take that poll after everybody's had a week to let it resonate, because most people are just trying to get out, catch a flight, get back home or whatever. Buddy, Shane Beamer, South Carolina, he keeps, climbing and building. South Carolina last year, someone asked him, how long did it take you to get over not making the playoff? He said, what can you do except work harder? South Carolina, are they good enough?
Good question. Brendan, I don't know how you feel about it, but everything looks right and they have really helped themselves a lot. They got money, they got recruits, they got the fan base, but there's something missing there to me that keeps them from being that next step. I can't put them in my top 6 or top 7.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they can't win them. I mean, Sellers obviously is a great player. Yeah. I don't know how their defense is. They said they had a defensive tackle. I heard him say, he said, maybe that was Kelly, said that the guy said he'd hold himself out and come back. But anyway, South Carolina, Shane Beamer at least sounds like a guy that's confident. He said, I got everything I need to compete for a title in South Carolina.
And they do have to replace everybody on their special teams. And that's about a third of every game. Yeah. That's an area he addressed. But they had 5 defensive players taken in the NFL draft. That's a lot to replace. Mm-hmm. We know the portal, though. Hey, you run out of groceries, you go to Publix. That's what you do in the portal. Mm-hmm. I'd like to see the data, buddy. October 15th, 2018 is when the portal became the law of the land. We do know from our friend, one of our new sponsors, and Dave Bartu, College Football Matrix, talks about the numbers are there. They're obvious. If you transfer from a Power 4 down, you're going to start about 1/7 as many games as the people who, go up or laterally P4 to P4. So I think the market will figure this stuff out. How many guys, for instance, did Florida lose? Jack Pyburn went to LSU, which still blows my mind. But I do think the market's beginning to make some sense out of this. I want to address some questions from the ultimate attorney, Perry Mason from Lake Placid, Florida, a great citrus farmer. Perry, he's what's your thoughts about Andy Staples naming DJ Lagway the number 1 QB in the SEC? Mm-hmm. You can make a case for that. Mm-hmm. And also, Brian Kelly won't be there in 2 years. He's so unlikable to me. Well, he and his family, they seem to be having fun. He's making so much money. I don't think they can get rid of him, but kind of expand on those 2 questions and answers right there.
Well, first of all, I saw Andy Staples' poll, and I was a little surprised he put Staples up there. I mean, he put DJ up ahead of Manning, because Manning's the glory. He's the guy. He's the cat. He's the guy with all the jingles. He is the guy. He's got it. Like someone said today, let's be honest, whether you like him or not, he's got it all. Yeah. Now, can he do it on the field? That's the question. Naturally, the next thing that everybody says, and said it again today, I heard your guy talking about it. Everybody says, yeah, Florida's great and DJ Lagway's great if he can stay healthy. And we know that's always the question. But I don't know. I'm going to see Manning. I'm going to hold with all my judgment. I think he's got it all, and you can't count out Nussmeier. As and today, his coach talked about how he's going to be. He's improved so much. Brian Kelly talked about Nussmeier making a quantum leap like his other quarterbacks have. If he makes a quantum leap, and he claims he's got a really good offensive line in LSU this year, that could be a different animal there, okay? Because Nussmeier is a player. He's a coach's son, as Kelly pointed out. He wants to do it right. He knows the game. He could have left. He didn't. He stayed. Yeah. So we'll have to see how that plays out early on. But, no, I'll take Lagway. I think Lagway's in a great situation. And the cast they got. And to answer his question about Kelly, we'll see. Well, if Kelly wins, he'll be there. He's just, I agree, somewhat unlikable to many people, but he makes what, $11 million a year or whatever, and he's got a contract. And if he wins, he'll get to stay. If he doesn't, they'll probably invite him to leave.
Yeah, and A&M set the bar pretty high with the $76 million on Jimbo, but 10 years, $100 million for Brian Kelly.
I don't
Michigan,
know about that.
yeah, Michigan State did it 10 years, 100 million with Mel Tucker. And
Yeah.
what was he gone a year or two later? They
Yeah.
found a way to get rid of him.
And
Yeah.
buddy, just so not jumping around, but I don't know how I feel about Beamer in South Carolina because you mentioned South Carolina. I think he's a good recruiter. He kind of has the self-sabotage deal going on over there a little bit. So I mean, look, their defense is in question. They're rebuilding.
Yeah.
I don't know. Are they as good as advertised? I think they're just one of those teams that every year we hear is going to be pretty good, and they'll come up and bite you. I just don't think they're as good as the 8 teams that we talked about earlier today.
Well, they were mentioned in that date, I believe, but I'm
Coach
not.
mentioned them, but I would not put them in my 8 though.
No, I would say I would kind of agree with you there. I've got to wait and see, but I heard what I heard today and all the stuff going on and how they were so, and Sellers getting all the run he's getting, and I don't know. There is something going on in Columbia. There's no question about it. But let's see who they had to play against.
Well,
Yeah.
They all got something going on too.
They got running back issues and they got young wide receivers. I don't know. There's a lot of questions there, and the SEC is tough. I think that's where we're learning. Rob, how tough does it feel? And how we were talking about parity today with Buddy. Do you feel that? I know when you're there, you kind of feel a little bit more of like talking to other media people from those markets. You feel like we are entering into this evening a little bit, like Buddy and I mentioned with Coach today.
I think a lot more than evening. I think it's a lot of waiting for the other shoe to drop, waiting for Alabama to come back, waiting for Georgia to get some receivers. It's almost like, okay, people need a couple of elite teams in the league to make everybody else feel like, yeah, this is the best league. But South Carolina is interesting. They haven't done it. I mean, the only championship is 1969. They were 7-4. They tied Wake Forest for the ACC championship. Under Steve Spurrier, 11, 12, and 13. They won 11 games 3 straight years.
Yeah.
That's as good as it's ever been
Yeah.
at South Carolina. And in 2010, they won 9 and went to Atlanta, but winning 11 3 years in a row, they didn't get to Atlanta.
Yeah.
That's tough. That's South Carolina football, and they beat Clemson last year, and that's a hell of a rivalry. But South Carolina, I think so many people are show me, kind of the Missouri motto.
Well, Clemson's one to be reckoned with this year.
Yeah.
It was really good.
God, yeah.
And I think what got me a little bit was, and I think Beamer's done a nice job.
He has.
I know Spurrier likes him a lot.
Yeah.
But the thing that was said today when he took the podium up there, they introduced him and said, the winningest coach over a 4-year period in the history of the school.
Yeah.
I thought, wait a minute. And I guess he has one more win than Spurrier.
Yeah.
But to put him and Spurrier in the same paragraph, that ain't right.
No. I mean, I remember Spurrier's first year, 2005 at South Carolina. I was at the game. They were playing against Auburn. Auburn won the game like 48-7. And I was talking to all these South Carolina fans who were walking around just absolutely dejected and demoralized. I said, I'll make a bet with you. You win 7 games and make a bowl this year, he'll turn it around. And they looked at me like I was, a unicorn. And they won 7 games that year. I had my crystal ball, but Spurrier wins everywhere he goes. He won at Duke. Okay. That's like having a hockey powerhouse program in the muck. I mean, that's who he is. And I think Shane Beamer, he exudes confidence. He really does. And they're going to be fun to watch. I'll tell you another one. Lane Kiffin was really genuine. And at the end of his talk, someone asked him about how Oxford has changed him. In the last year, he's lost his mom and his dad. I mean, he has been through hell. And he's got his brother living there. He's got his, nieces, nephews. All of his kids are there. All of them are in Oxford. And he goes, there was this version of Oxford before I got there and Oxford when I got there. And the way these people in Oxford have rallied around me, losing both parents in the last year, he goes, I'll just say this. He's not going to leave Ole Miss for another job. I don't see him doing it. There's been a transformation in a spiritual sort of way with him, but they've had in the last 55 years at Ole Miss, 4 top 12 finishes. 3 of them have occurred under Lane Kiffin's coaching tutelage. Pretty powerful.
I would agree with you. I think the home aspect of it and the people rallying around, if you've not gone through something like that and lost a loved one like that and had people move, it really changes. And you realize how important to have a community around you. Yeah. And Oxford's a little town and still a close-knit town. And I think what Lane is, I heard Lane later. He came back on Feinbaum later. You didn't hear it. But because he said, I'm told that you want me to come over and see you. And they had a really good interview, the kind of flippant interview they do.
Yeah.
And he talked about how much it meant. He said, I got 10 relatives here in Oxford. Mm-hmm. It's a different Oxford for me now. Yeah. So I'm with you. I think he's there. Yeah. And I think he's there, and I think he's a hell of a coach.
I get to spend a lot of time in Oxford. A lot. I can tell you, I've been to 52 football games there, 37 in Starkville.
Really?
Those people in Mississippi I love them. And all my family's from the Delta. But it's just the expectations now are high. Okay. Talking about small towns, Columbia, that's a big city.
It's a big city.
Okay. Gainesville. How big is Gainesville?
Oh, it's not as big as Ocala in terms of population, but it's bringing what, 75, 80,000 maybe?
Wow. Gainesville.
Yeah. No, it's bigger. I thought it was bigger than that.
Well, it might be.
Gainesville proper? I don't know. I'll look at it.
Well, you got to remember, you got 50,000 students.
50,000 at the University of Florida?
Mm-hmm. Undergrad.
Yeah.
One of only 6 colleges in America, y'all know this, don't you?
Yeah.
That has a vet school, a law school, and a medical school.
Yeah, you're good at this. You have great factor. You should be recruiting for the Gators.
I'm just saying, I've been there. I've been on that campus. It is not, I try to tell everybody this, it's not South Beach. Yeah. It's not Naples. It is the South.
Buddy, the population of Gainesville, Florida is 145,812 as of 2023.
Wow. So that's I haven't checked it since then.
Buddy, what's going on?
Well, I guess they counted to 50. I don't know. I know for a long time, Ocala was bigger than Gainesville. Now, probably it didn't. What's Ocala, Brendan? 80, 85, 90. But Marion County.
We got a couple of minutes here, so we got to.
Marion County's
Hey, Rob, real quick, what'd Sankey say today? Anything? Ocala 68,000 or 68,426 as of 2020.
There you go. So
Greg
69,000.
Greg Sankey didn't really say anything startling. He just introduced a lot of coaches. But, that's
he said expanded 16-team super conference with restored rivalries.
We've heard that.
We've heard that. Buddy, you watched it, right, too?
Yeah, he said, first of all, welcome to the super conference. That's where he opened it. And then he said later on, look, he told people off the side, if we're not ready to expand, we'll go back to 12. We'll just go back to 12. Forget 16 right now, and we'll pick it up later. So we'll see.
Yeah, and I think that the vibe here is that SEC is being challenged by the Big Ten, and there's also, the ACC is making some noise. I'm not worried about Miami. I'm worried about if I'm the SEC, Georgia Tech and Brent Key, Clemson, and I think Louisville. I think the ACC is desperate, and the SEC just needs to watch its flank, watch its sixes, because everybody is coming for this league, and that's what makes it so much fun. And I'll be on with you later tonight, and be back down there in the morning, and again Wednesday, and again Thursday, and I'm going to keep feeding sound bites, and I'm fired up about seeing Billy Napier and DJ Lagway.
Our man in Atlanta, he's there. I saw him in person.
Oh boy!
So.
We got the Wizard there in Ocala.
Yes,
monitors, and it's like just feed me stuff. That's what we're going to do.
I never leave right here. All right, we'll see everyone tonight, 9:00 Eastern. Good job, Rob.
Thank you.
And click on the QR code there to follow us on Twitter for Buddy Show tonight and all that good stuff. We will see you all shortly. Have a good dinner.
That's right.
Supper,
dinner, whatever it is.
Good night. See you shortly. Thank you.
All
good night, John Boy. Good night, Dad.
Good night, John.